You can't really ban cryptocurrencies. It's innovation. Innovation breeds efficiency and productivity. You get efficiency, productivity, and everything will grow.
From Peckham, South East London, this is the Genesis Block Education Podcast, and I'm your host, Bitcoin by Malks. I hope everybody is well, healthy in mind, body, and spirit. And yes, and it feels like in the UK, we are coming to the end of this lockdown period. But, you know, to be quite honest, that depends on what side of the bed that Boris Johnson wakes up on. But fingers crossed, we are nearly at the end of this for now, because we know it's going to happen again, right? Anyway, without being too pessimistic, thank you for everyone who has been subscribing, following the release of the first podcast of the series, which was the Great Bitcoin Bull Run by Benny Overton. Really doing some good numbers on that. So please continue subscribing, liking, commenting, keep downloading and listening, and comment. Give us your comments. Let us know what you feel. Also, check out the website, bitcoinbymax.com, and our course for people who are wanting to dip a toe and understand what this crypto thing is about. Check out the course. You might learn something. So today's podcast is the third installment of our series, Can Bitcoin Fix Nigeria? And the title is the Nigerian Ban on Bitcoin. And that's with a question mark, because we don't actually know whether it's been banned or not. And this is what is discussed in this episode. If you haven't before, please check out the previous two installments in this series, part 1 and part 2, which were both with my guest, Rebecca Ase. Just to give a bit of context, the whole idea behind this Can Bitcoin Fix Nigeria series was inspired by data and stats, to be quite honest. Nigeria is really starting to stand out as one of the biggest utilizers of cryptocurrencies. And obviously that was made more prominent by the COVID situation. And so the first episode was really just to dig into sort of the push and pull factors and what was really driving those statistics. And from that, we created a series of Can Bitcoin Fix Nigeria? To be honest, the series was just really inspired by me being nosy and really wanting to dig into the numbers and statistics to just get a real idea of what was going on. I enlisted the help of Rebecca Ase, who is a crypto journalist and consultant on the ground in Nigeria, to really just help me to navigate my way through understanding what was at play. And by lifting up the hood of the car, as it were, we kind of revealed all sorts going on in terms of innovations, entrepreneurs, Ponzi schemes, protests, more drama than Sunset Beach. So in today's show, we dig into the most recent piece of drama driven by CBN, which is the Nigerian Central Bank, and their recent memo on virtual currencies, aka cryptocurrency. So my guest for today's show, which is also my first attempt at doing a sort of a freeway podcast, are Rebecca Ase, who I've mentioned previously, and macro investor and business analyst Daniel Athenia, aka the Professor. So we delve into the reality of the Bitcoin ban or not, the drivers behind the ban, and the horizon going forward. As always, like, share, comment, and check out the Bitcoin by Malks website. See you on the other side. Before we jump into it, I'll just probably give you both an opportunity to introduce yourself. So maybe start with you, Rebecca, because everybody's heard your voice before.
Hi, Dan. My name is Rebecca Ase. I'm a crypto journalist, and I'm the head of communication for Future Proof Intelligence. Future Proof Intelligence is a company that's focused on ensuring that blockchain, cryptocurrency, and emerging technology firms are compliant with government regulations and all that. I am also the head of communications and events for Bitmama. Bitmama is a cryptocurrency exchange. Okay, we are focused with ensuring that African countries have access to cryptocurrency, as well as spreading crypto education in Africa.
As you know, Daniel Finer, my background is in business analysis, so business analysis more IT slanted, and I have involvement in accounting, and I'm just strong interest in investing in cryptocurrencies.
All right, so guys, yeah, I think what we can do is just really jump straight into it. And so just reminding ourselves what the title of this podcast is: Nigerian Ban on Cryptocurrency. But it's got a question mark because I'm not actually 100% sure whether it's been banned or not. So when we had earlier the year in 2021, the CBN came out, made some announcements. I didn't want to rush to do a video. What I thought, let me just leave it a month or two to really try to understand what's going on. And so, you know, a month or two has surpassed, and here we are now talking about it. So doing the research and just looking back to the previous engagements we've had from the CBN on cryptocurrency. So they've made announcements in 2017. I think they sent out a letter, as well as 2018, and both of which those letters had quite negative connotations around cryptocurrency, where they raised concerns about the untraceable nature of cryptocurrencies, how it's anonymous, the lack of global regulations around cryptocurrencies, as well as it being a hub for fraud and the difficulty with these cryptocurrency companies which just run away with people's money. Historically, the CBN has always had a negative outlook on cryptocurrency. So, Rebecca, I guess the question to you is, why did the announcement in 2021 come as such a surprise for the cryptocurrency community in Nigeria?
You know, I think why it was such a huge surprise is when you have something so good going on, you know, you don't expect, you know, a negative wind of change. So, you know, everyone was like, you know, the crypto sphere is booming, you know, money is pumping in, people are having it so easy transferring cryptocurrencies, buying cryptocurrencies, mass adoption is going on, you know, mass crypto education is going on, you know, and then the future that we have for Bitcoin, where we imagine that very soon everyone is going to be interested in Bitcoin. It was looking so obtainable, and all of a sudden, you know, a memo actually just pops up and to say, yeah, it's a memo. They actually never pass a law. It's always a memo.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. Yeah, sorry, carry on.
So a memo just pops up to say, oh, cryptocurrency has been banned. So actually, cryptocurrency wasn't banned, but that's another story. But, you know, it was a shock. You know, crypto exchanges had to, you know, readjust. A lot of people had their accounts blacklisted. You know, there was a lot of fear. I remember my dad calling me to say, you work with Bitcoin, so I hope it didn't affect your job. And my mom also called me to say, you work, and I don't work with Bitcoin. Yes,
yeah.
no, they actually think I work with Bitcoin. Like Bitcoin is a company.
As a company.
And then I was like, no, I don't work with Bitcoin. It's a cryptocurrency, and they really didn't ban Bitcoin. It's just that they made it, you know, a little bit difficult to kind of buy and sell. So it was a shock. You know, we weren't expecting it at that particular time. Cryptocurrency was, you know, moving so fantastically well. Crypto exchanges were popping up, you know, and then individual exchanges too. You know, people who, you know, wanted to create like a peer-to-peer form of exchange instead of creating, you know, a well-organized exchanges. You know, everywhere was, you know, going on well. And then the ban came in, and it was just a blow in the face.
Following up from what Rebecca just mentioned, I'm sure soon you'll be introducing your parents to the Bitcoin white paper and Bitcoin standard.
Yeah, they know about it. My mom has an idea about it. It's just, you know, she knows it's money, but the technical aspect of it, she just doesn't care about it. All she cares about is oh, it's Bitcoin, it's money. You make money from it, fine. That's all I care about. So she doesn't care about it. And explaining it to her, I started a cryptocurrency in Pidgin YouTube channel back in 2018 to explain to her what cryptocurrency was. And she kind of has an interest in it as long as it's not, it's not illegal, it's legal. Yeah. That's what she cares about. So the technical details, we try to keep it away from people who are elderly, because I think their generation missed out on getting it that's involved in technology. So what we do is we try to get them to understand the basics. It's money. I can send it to you and you can send it to me, and then you can convert it to fiat if you want to. So it's just make it as simple as possible.
Just to quickly dive in a little bit more detail on the actual ban. So the CBN have definitely not banned cryptocurrency, but no. Is it the banking services which interact with cryptocurrency? Dan, do you want to put a bit more?
Yeah, just to follow up on what Rebecca was saying. So they haven't per se banned cryptocurrencies. They've banned financial institutions and banks from providing services around the cryptocurrency space. So peer-to-peer transactions are still flourishing. So the announcement from the CBN was a follow-up from a letter which was listed in 2017, highlighting the same kind of thoughts around Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies, anonymity, use cases for money laundering, fraud, and all of those things. So it was just a reminder to the banks and the financial institutions of our position. So fast forward to 2020 February, then we fast forward again, where the CBN provided a bit more of some guidance around the topic, highlighting that they have not banned cryptocurrency in Nigeria. It's just that banks cannot provide banking services to cryptocurrency exchanges and companies, but you can still continue with peer-to-peer. So effectively, they're trying to slash the traffic and just make it a bit more difficult for for citizens to adopt cryptocurrency.
Putting yourself in the shoes of the head of the CBN, what do you think are the main factors which influence their decision to send out that memo?
Putting myself in the seat of the CBN, you have to think of the disruptive nature of Bitcoin. Like they've classified it as a virtual currency, so they don't see it as digital money. It's not real legal tender, but it's having so much impact on the wider financial system. So we can look at it from different areas. We can look at it from the aspect of the strain of foreign currency, primarily US dollars. So if we just pull back a bit and just provide some background information about the Nigerian economy and where Nigeria obtains its forex from. So 70% of USD comes from the oil and gas sector. The USD remittance into the country, and another large proportion is from diaspora remittance. But in terms of federal government actually relies on oil and gas to provide 90% of the USD.
Wow.
So when you actually look at those numbers, so effectively Nigeria's relying on 90% of their USD to come from the oil and gas sector, making it more like a mono economy. And we've gone into lockdown, and the oil prices have collapsed.
Right.
Productivity collapsed around the world. So the demand for Nigeria's main oil, whether it's Bonny, Quebec, and all of those, has dropped. The price has fallen. The price collapsed. And when you think about the inefficiency and actually bringing oil out of the ground in Nigeria, the price must have been collapsed to a point where it was costing more to bring the oil out than what you're actually gaining in revenue. So the government wasn't really making much money, but you just had to keep things going. So there was a squeeze on USD in the country. That's point one. On a secondary note, Nigeria has also been trying to manage its exchange rate between dollars and nairas, between the official market and the parallel market. And some of these reasons, lack of funds, USD coming in, caused a wide spread between the parallel market, with them actually banning USD being provided for the import of particular products, forcing citizens and other people to seek alternative sources.
Yes, of course.
So that fast forwards to the demand for citizens going into Bitcoin, and most probably resulting in a lot of hard USD leaving the current country into Bitcoin. So for me, it's more like an inability to control your monetary system and the ins and outs of dollars within Nigeria. So we've touched upon the impact of oil and gas, the collapse of the price, the ban of particular products, and the loss of confidence in the naira anyway. So if we go historically, going back to the 80s to now, look at the depreciation going on with the naira. We've gone from maybe $1 to £1 all the way to, what is it now, Rebecca? How much is it in the parallel market now?
That's been about 500 plus now.
Yeah, 500 to $1.
Crazy. It's definitely going to be about probably 1,000 by the end of the year. It's crazy.
No, it shouldn't get that bad.
I aimed 700. I thought 2021 it would reach 700, but let's see how things go. So when you look at it from the aspect of a citizen, our purchasing power is disappearing, inflation's rising as a result. So we need to, as a citizen, you're trying to find ways to protect your purchasing power, protect your wealth from a government which is irresponsible with its economics. So I think the fear comes from losing control of the monetary system, that possible chance down the road that money will be decoupled from government. The fears of some of the fear of those things is what I think is driving the CBN. You can look at similar scenarios in Zimbabwe, when you had the dollarization of the Zimbabwean country, dollarization of Zimbabwe due to the lack of confidence in the Zimbabwean dollar. And when they actually still tried to ban dollarization in Zimbabwe, people moved to Bitcoin. Because everyone's trying to get their hands on hard currency to interact. So these are some of the things which I feel the CBN will be worried about. From a commercial bank perspective, fintech, when you look into stuff like fintech and all the cost involved to remit money and transfer money out of Nigeria, the fees are too high. The fees are too high, and the time involved is long in comparison to what can be achieved within DeFi, for instance. You can look at case studies concerning XRP, Ripple, the amount of time it takes to transfer funds, and the fees involved. The traditional banking sector cannot compete. Even when you think about the kind of DeFi loans, saving products, imagine how much USD or Naira will be leaving the traditional banking system, the deposits within traditional banks in Nigeria, moving into these spaces where Nigerians can get juicy returns on their capital and primarily preserve their purchasing power and use it as a store as well. I mean, take aside Nigeria, when you think central banks all around the world are actually kind of have gone around similar routes, they're all scared of Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies, and the impact what it will have on.
Rebecca, how much of do you feel the CBN's decision is driven by lack of education and lack of understanding around cryptocurrency, even at that high level? We had a memo in 2021, earlier this year, but the actual, I can't remember the comment that was made when he was reading his statement, but something on the lines of currencies just created out of thin air or something like that. So it just seemed like there was a lack of understanding. So I mean, how much is it lack of education at that level?
while I feel that a lot of the decisions made by the CBN is, as a result of fear, fear of losing control, there is also, the place of not, as in the disinterest in studying the needs of the people. I think there's a disconnect. There's a disconnect between the central government and its people. It's like the central government feel what its people are feeling. So when the CBN governor made the statement saying that cryptocurrency was created out of thin air, it was a sad statement. Why? We have so many organizations in Nigeria that are propelled towards educating people on the benefits of cryptocurrency. We have CBAN, which is stakeholders of blockchain in Nigeria. I think we have Blockchain Association of Nigeria, I think. We have so many, organizations that have come together to create, a group that can reach out to the government, when there is a need for, information. Why not call these guys? We have Chuta Chimeze is so knowledgeable about the crypto space. We have Faith Obafemi, she's a lawyer. Why not call these people and then have them, explain to you what the cryptocurrency really is about? Why not call the experts, the people who have been transacting in cryptocurrency, and then have them explain what cryptocurrency really is? Oh, okay, let's say you are just too busy and you don't have the time to call them. Why not study the Bitcoin white paper? So saying that Bitcoin is created out of thin air is discrediting, the mining rigs that have to go into mining Bitcoin, is discrediting the developers that have to put in their time to, come up with algorithms that actually made Bitcoin what it was. It's discrediting, millions and thousands of people, not even in Nigeria, that believe in Bitcoin. So it's just a thing of taking time out to understand what Bitcoin was. So it's the lack of understanding of what cryptocurrency was very glaring in that video. It's aside the fear, we understand the aspect of fear when they ban banks from transacting with cryptocurrency. That was understandable. Like, Dan said, people were no longer, there was a memo that came out in December, that had the banks stop paying Western Union and money remit and all other remittance directly into people's accounts in Naira. So instead, you get to go back to the bank and then collect the dollars. And then you have the choice of selling it back to the bank at the rate of 360 Naira or selling it at the black market, which a lot of people will now. But now people have to go to the bank, collect the dollars, and then go and sell it off at the black market. So now, after making that decision, how do you expect people to still receive money in dollars when there is the option of receiving money in Bitcoin and then, converting it directly on Binance or any other exchanges with the speed of lightning to Naira at a higher rate? So, now it's just a thing of lack of understanding, or the unwillingness to learn.
So Nigerian Senator Sani Musa said Bitcoin has made Nigerian currency useless and valueless, which is quite funny because the Naira has been in a free fall since the mid-80s, if we look at it. But what real risk does cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, stable coins even pose to Naira?
I'll follow up on that, but I'll come into that literally in 1 second. But I just wanted to follow up on something what Rebecca said.
Sure.
So Bitcoin's come out of thin air, but what's fiat actually backed by? It's the US dollar and everything came off the gold standard, so it's confidence. It's back.
Yes.
It's backed by
and armies and guns.
And armies and guns, but is it? It's not tied to a commodity. No. So there's confidence in a government and a government's performance. So everything's backed by thin air. The senator saying that Bitcoin has made the Nigerian currency useless. Well, the devaluations, the free fall of the value of the Naira was occurring way before Bitcoin gained prominence in Nigeria. So you can't turn to Bitcoin and say that.
Pointing fingers at Bitcoin.
Pardon?
I said they're pointing fingers at Bitcoin.
Yeah,
not fingers at Bitcoin.
Not their
Bitcoin,
governance.
You can't point fingers at Bitcoin because Bitcoin is almost like looking like is seen as a kind of semi-savior to the Nigerian citizens from the problems that the poor governance says it cause. So devaluations, inflation, reduced purchasing power. People are trying to escape this trap. They're thinking if we stay in this similar position, what does history show us? That next year the naira will be worth less against a basket of currencies that it was the year before. History has showed us that. So it's nothing to do with Bitcoin. Bitcoin is just a disruptor, and it's providing an avenue for citizens to take. I mean, the naira, like we say, the naira has been dropping against a basket of currencies. Here in the UK, how much am I paying? 670 naira per pound. You've mentioned the exchange rate against the dollar. When you think of in 2020, the naira was one of the worst performing currencies in the world, in Africa and the wider world. So we can see the direction with the naira. And it's primarily to do with the fact that Nigeria's mono economy, even though oil and the gas sector accounts for 10% of GDP, the FX coming in is primarily from there. So Nigeria needs to diversify away and start looking at things like going back to stuff like agriculture, which was strong before oil and gas, in order to obtain more US dollars coming in. We spend too much money. We spend too much of our foreign currency importing, and we need to look into stuff about domestic substitution of things which are important, which will strengthen up our currency. I mean, for God's sake, we're oil producing nation from how long? We're buying PMS. We're buying PMS. We're subsidizing PMS when we have free refineries. FX is being used to subsidize PMS. I mean, so there's so many areas which we're having strain on our FX, which has made the naira useless. Hopefully, when the Dangote refinery comes on, we'll be a net exporter of PMS, and we'll be able to preserve our FX, which will help with appreciation. So we really need to rebalance the economy. I mean, Bitcoin is most probably causing a strain on naira, but it's not the primary problem.
I also want to say something about the Dangote refinery. I don't think it's going to help the FX, because by the time the refinery will be ready, most countries are going to stop producing vehicles that need
clean energy. It's a dying industry.
So what are we going to turn to then? So I feel, aside turning to agriculture, we need to cut down the cost of governance. It is too expensive.
Big time.
Nigerian government
Big time.
Too expensive. But what is annoying about how expensive our government is the fact that it's just up there. It's not getting to the grassroots. So what's the need of having a government that has no connection with the people, and then we are spending this much money and we are not even paying doctors? So most of the problem with it has nothing to do with Bitcoin. It has to do with bad policies, unimplemented good policies, and more bad policies. So bad policies to blame.
Yeah, we did touch upon the cost of governance in our last podcast with Rebecca, and I think we compared the salaries of like the senators in Nigeria versus the US, and I think it was the annual salary of a US senator was about 170K versus a Nigerian senator, which is something like 500,000. And then when you compare the GDPs of the countries, it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up at all. Sorry, Dan, did you want to add anything there?
I mean, their salary or their security allowance.
Well, call it what you want. the cost of delivery or whatever. Yeah, but yeah.
Newspaper allowance. It's just so ridiculous. As in, it's 2021. Who reads the newspaper?
Yes,
and then.
Wow.
See, I'm an advocate of diversification in the Nigerian economy and basically looking at what products we can import to increase the USD coming in and our over-reliance and moving away from our over-reliance on commodities, because Venezuela, all the countries around the world are seeing oil and gas prices dropped. And like you say, we're moving to e-vehicles. A lot of governments have set targets of when they're cutting off. But I mean, for me, the Dangote refining will help because it will finally do away with subsidy. I mean, we know all the money involved in subsidy and whether it's legit or not, but there will now be no excuse to say that we need to import PMS. We need these allowances. But with regard to stable coins, I think we need to just touch on what stable coins are.
Yeah, go ahead.
So stable coins are effectively a digital version of a particular country's currency. So USDT, USDC being a digital version of the US dollar. Nigeria has one as well, but they're
really
not.
Someone's using a digital naira. Who's using
not a CBDC, not a CBDC, but there's some of the exchanges which you can actually convert your naira into a naira equivalent to interact with exchanges. So again, that's the difference, whether it's a central bank digital currency or if it's a private digital currency and how's it backed. You know, all the scandals attached with Tether.
Yeah.
So that's an issue in itself. But primarily, the purpose is to be able to preserve your value in between moving in and out of different cryptocurrencies and going to fiat, but not per se going to fiat, just going to a digital equivalent. So it does have its purpose in terms of managing volatility.
And cryptocurrency and trading has been a source of income and wealth for many Nigerians. And we've seen around 20% year-on-year increases in the space, culminating with Nigeria being like the second or third biggest user and sort of transactions of cryptocurrency and Bitcoin. And with explosions of wallets, on-ramps, exchanges, and other services. What are the main drivers into that? What's driving those trends? We've covered the sort of the macroeconomic side of things. What's happening from a technological and demographic perspective, which is driving that?
Most people are interested in crypto because one, it's easy. Mm-hmm. It's easy to open an account. It's easy to resolve issues with it's easier to resolve an issue with an exchange than to resolve an issue with a bank. It's easier. So why not, cut out the stress and then, invest in cryptocurrency? And also from another point of view, which I don't think has anything to do with technology, people just want to make money to survive. Right. Nigerians are the Nigerian economy is in such a way that Nigerians provide basic amenities for themselves. So for a society where you are your own bank, you are your own healthcare system, you are your own insurance, you provide everything for yourself. Once the naira starts failing, you look for an alternative, which was why I think in our last podcast we talked about scams with multi-level marketing products and the likes. So people are so desperate that they don't, in fact, currently, when you ask a lot of people about, especially newbies in the crypto sphere, most of them don't really know what's crypto. A lot of people have not even read the Bitcoin white paper. All they care about is that if I put in, this amount, I get this amount, right? Yes. All right, I'll go in. So it's more of a survival thing than a technological thing. So the explosion has more to do with survival than it has to do with technology. On the side of technology, it's easier, it's faster, it's safer. When you think I think the interest rate on savings for a year in Nigerian banks now, the last time I checked, it had dropped to about 0.12. So if that's the percentage you get for keeping your money in the bank for 1 year, why not invest it in cryptocurrency and then you can get 10% in 2 days, 3 days, 3 weeks if you are trading, or in DeFi and then you get, such an explosive amount. So people would rather, they don't mind the risk, they'll rather take a risk with cryptocurrency than take a risk with the bank.
I've read that there's about 1 million plus Nigerians who have had to open up bank accounts in Ghana to subvert the foreign currency regulations and limitations. So what other factors are pushing Nigerians to move into this cryptocurrency space? Obviously, a poor banking infrastructure in Nigeria, which is very old, very sort of archaic.
I think Rebecca touched on quite a few things. Like you say, Nigerians are going to other West African countries to open up accounts to interact so they can obtain foreign exchange. So you can see throughout the questions, we've hit that the primary problem lies with the CBN's inability to manage the economy and manage the ethics and the shortages. In the lockdown, the banks were closed. In lockdown, the banks were closed. So citizens did need to look to other directions to obtain FX, and it's easy to go into cryptocurrency of Bitcoin to actually manage your flow of currency to and fro from Nigeria and into Nigeria, and it's quick. The fees are low. And like you said, there's so many products in DeFi. To name one, Celsius, for instance. In the last 5 years, that over 60,000 worth of Bitcoins have been traded in Nigeria on a peer-to-peer level, and it's only growing. And the numbers literally exploded in 2020 during the lockdown. So during the lockdown, banks were closed. People were in particular scenarios, and they're looking to alternative methods where they can increase their wealth, protect their purchasing power, and enable them to continue with their day-to-day activities.
So, unless you've been hiding under a rock recently, you may have heard about this thing called Bitcoin. Bitcoin is everywhere at the moment, with people saying it's one of the most important inventions of the 21st century. If, like many people, you're still not sure or haven't got a clue what all the fuss is about or where to start on your learning journey, Genesis Block Education has the course for you. The Bitcoin Basics Beginners course is now available on Udemy. It's packed full of lectures, activities, and easy to follow resources which will give you the fundamental knowledge on what Bitcoin is, what makes it so valuable, and most importantly, how to obtain and secure it. If you want more information, please see the show notes or visit us at bitcoinbymalks.com, the Bitcoin Basics course. Without Bitcoin, there is no cryptocurrency.
If Nigeria was to ban cryptocurrency, would it be, I guess, cutting itself off from the next wave of financial liberation and innovation? How important is cryptocurrency to Nigeria? And I'll put that question to you, Dan.
Like if Nigeria did attempt, well, they attempted to, but if they did, it would be putting themselves on the back foot. Primarily, there's a lot of value in first mover advantage.
Mm-hmm.
The key thing is that Nigeria has a bubbling tech space with a lot of fintech, and they're at the forefront of things. And Nigeria as a country needs the benefit, and the traditional banking system will benefit if we embrace this system early, which is definitely going to be around. I mean, nothing's changing. I mean, so when you look at this, when you even look how far the cryptocurrency and blockchain, not just cryptocurrency, but blockchain technology has come from the early days to now, the financial offerings. Before, you didn't have stuff like stable coins, which you could revert into. The different packages, we need to be at the forefront. And you can't, like, when you think of the nature of Bitcoin in itself, it's practically impossible. It's practically impossible to ban anyway, because you're driving the market to another direction. We should be like the VP, the Vice President of Nigeria, highlighted, who appears to me to be quite bullish on Bitcoin.
Yeah, he's quite bullish, isn't he? Yeah,
Blockchain.
yeah.
We need to embrace it, work out how to regulate it, how it can benefit Nigeria, Africa as a whole, and use it to drive innovation.
Rebecca, any thoughts on that?
Oh, well, I don't think when it comes to cryptocurrency, if Nigeria decides to ban it, which they can't, like Dan said, you can't ban cryptocurrency. It was actually intended to be, a peer-to-peer currency. So basically what they have done right now is to move, people from relying on, opening bank accounts to, that is, crypto companies, instead of opening a bank account and then having people buy cryptocurrency directly from the company. Now, most companies have changed their system to, fit a peer-to-peer platform. So, during the ban, immediately the ban was listed out, a lot of companies had to move to Ghana to open bank accounts in Ghana and Dubai, while other companies decided to just focus on becoming, a peer-to-peer platform. And then that's what, so instead of banning, instead of benefiting from cryptocurrency and say, okay, making a regulation to say, okay, if you default, this is what happens, or this is what the government gets to benefit from every crypto transaction. They made it in such a way that, crypto companies have cut them off. So right now, the only benefit the government gets from cryptocurrency is the bank stamp charges that, that they get on everybody's account. So instead of, having crypto companies dealing in crypto pay taxes and then, tax them on the amount of crypto transactions they have, per year, they have now made it in such a way that crypto companies can now sidetrack them, individuals can sidetrack them and just pay 15 naira on every 5,000 naira transaction at the end of the month. So nobody cares, it's just 15 naira. So that's the only benefit they are going to get.
It does seem a bit like by banning cryptocurrency, the cost is outweighing the benefit of doing that. It's like you want to stop drink driving, so you stop driving altogether. You ban people from driving, so the cost just outweighs the benefit. And where are we in terms of regulation of cryptocurrency in Nigeria? That was a view from the vice president that we need to sort of up the regulation or the regulatory outlook of cryptocurrency, and it should be more of a collaborative environment for cryptocurrency. Where is Nigeria in its regulations of cryptocurrencies? What are the various bodies which feed into that and build that picture?
The first time the government tried to, come up with a committee to talk about cryptocurrency regulation in 2018, sometime in April or May 2018. They said they were going to go back and then, study the markets and study cryptocurrencies and then come back with a conclusion, and no conclusion was made. Last year, they also came out to say, oh, cryptocurrency is not a legal tender, understandable. But so far, no regulation has been made on cryptocurrency. The only, I don't know if I would classify that as a regulation is companies have to make sure that they have KYC, which falls under data protection. So that falls under the data protection category. So most companies have to have KYC, and it also defeats the purpose when we look at DeFi, because DeFi requires no KYC.
Yeah.
And then once you put your money into DeFi, you can recycle it as much as you can. And then maybe you put in a different amount, you're coming out with a different amount, and then you're sending it to your bank account. And the government cannot say, oh, this is what this money was made for, or this was. And considering the fact that we are sitting in a country where terrorism and crime is becoming increasingly high, I think the government's stance shouldn't be to attack, honest to God citizens who are working so hard towards making a living and then making a difference for themselves, but to look for a way to, circumvent crime. So what they did was to ask all Nigerians to register for their national identification number, which is something we should be getting at birth. Every
birth,
Nigerian
yeah.
should have one at birth. So, but I don't know why we don't get one, but so right now every Nigerian has to get that. So every phone number can be traceable. So if you have a particular phone number attached to a particular crypto platform, then it should be the banks should be able to trace that number and trace the BVN to that particular person. But basically, there is no standard regulation. There is no A or B or C to how regulations work in Nigeria when it comes to cryptocurrency or digital currency. We just have data protection and anti-money laundering policy.
Dan, is the ecosystem moving too fast for regulators to keep up? Is that the problem? Is it innovating at such a speed?
I think blockchain, cryptocurrencies, everything is moving fast because it's a new space and it's exploding, and you're getting mass adoption occurring, and throughout the world you've got different central banks looking into it. So I think it is a fast moving space, but like we say, the key is not to cut the arms off. It's just to assess it and put some initial regulation in place while we watch how things go. Like I say, there's examples in other countries where we can look into KYC and all things like that to avoid money laundering. Well, we can't really avoid money laundering. Money laundering was occurring before Bitcoin turned up. People, US dollars. Let's deep dive into HSBC. Wasn't it the other day HSBC received the
Mexican drug cartels
for money laundering?
Yeah.
Bitcoin, there was no talk about Bitcoin. So the US fiat has been used for money laundering for many years. And actually, when we look at fiat, US dollars, for instance, it's anonymous. You cannot tell where the dollar came from. It's privacy. It's only when it comes into the digital system that you can actually track these things. And Bitcoin, people associate anonymity with Bitcoin, but it's an online ledger. Each transaction can be seen on the blockchain, so it's pseudo anonymous. What is anonymous is transparent to the point of a wallet address. But what is the face behind the wallet address? And that's where KYC kicks in, because when you look at exchanges and all of these things, once you've added KYC, you know the face behind the wallet address. So there's regulation and workarounds which could easily be implemented on top of the system to ease some of the concerns to do with money laundering and other things. And all of this data and information can be used to the benefit.
Let's talk a bit more about sort of terrorism and money laundering. We just briefly talked about the crime statistics in Nigeria starting to increase. Do you think the political environment is part of the issue, which is spreading the fear, uncertainty, and doubt in cryptocurrency?
I think it's domestic and international, because on one of the days which the CBN released a report regarding the whole cryptocurrency ban, this day newspaper ran a story concerning the FBI informing Nigeria that Bitcoin was being used, the money that Nigerians abroad were using Bitcoin to launder money in and out to do with stimulus scams. So there is a lot of information and pressure coming from international governments and international bodies. We can turn to the IMF. We can look at Janet Yellen when she ascended to her most recent position. If you recollect, Mark's Bitcoin dropped down because Janet Yellen
stepped in,
speech saying that it has no value, it's used for money laundering, fraud, all of the things under the sun, which the US dollar. So I mean, for me, we're looking at Bitcoin, but it has the same similar problems you have with fiat. And fiat, we apply regulation, KYC, transactions, suspicious transactions are reported, and all of those things. When it comes to terrorism and kidnapping, Rebecca, you're in Nigeria. all the kidnapping, what happens in Nigeria? Do they say what this is my Bitcoin, my BTC wallet? Can you send the money, or do they say leave a bag of fiat money at this particular location and proceed to turn the other way? So I mean, kidnapping and terrorism and all these things were going on before BTC came on the scene, and it's because in order for BTC to be the preferred adoption of cryptocurrencies, I guess you're going to have a lot of ramping up in the system, isn't it? There's going to need to be mass adoption for someone in a village or wherever to say, okay, this is what you're going to use. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense.
And another thing that makes it difficult for terrorism.
Primary use case.
Another thing that makes Bitcoin difficult for terrorism is it makes it harder for them to convert it to cash. So I feel it's easier to have cash at hand when you are dealing with terrorism, because it's easy to buy, weapons or whatever it is they do with cash than it would be with Bitcoin. Because with Bitcoin, you first have to convert it to Naira and then have it sent to an account, which most often banks usually have trigger alarms for when an unusually huge amount of money gets into a particular, account. So I think cash is actually easier to, carry around for crimes. But aside that, I think Bitcoin really doesn't really encourage crime. Money in general encourages crime. But I think the reaction of the government towards Bitcoin is the reaction any rational human being will have to, something new. And I think when we see something new, something we don't understand, somehow the human brain, instead of seeking to understand that particular situation, repels against it. So I think that's what is happening with the CBN where Bitcoin is concerned. But hopefully, as time goes by, when they see that it isn't going anywhere, maybe they'll have a better approach to it.
I guess we've come to the conclusion that it's not really a ban because it was a memo, but even if it was a ban, you can't ban it anyway. And a lot of people have moved into peer-to-peer transactions. So, they're sidestepping, as Nigerians normally do, because we're quite sovereign people. So we'll always find a solution to the problem. So where do you see the cryptocurrency space in Nigeria going forward? And I'll start with you, Rebecca, because you're actually on the ground. Was this memo from the CBN a slight setback, and then is the industry moving forward with more vigor? How has the industry reacted to this?
First and foremost, when the ban came out, people were shocked.
Okay.
It wasn't expected, but Nigerians are very resilient, so we bounced back. Binance thankfully already had a peer-to-peer system, so people just had to. Yeah, Binance had a peer-to-peer system already, so they just had to make it better. So people just moved to Binance and then started trading, and the value of Naira went high. No, it dropped initially when the ban came on. The value of Naira dropped, and right now it dropped. It dropped for a week or so, and then it bounced back. So people couldn't care less if the government had banned cryptocurrency. People are now moving into DeFi, into NFTs. It's basically like they just told the government, oh, what next? It really didn't have
resilience.
The effect was not that bad. Like I said earlier, most crypto firms, who were, strictly who were in peer-to-peer platforms, just had to, convert their systems and then make them peer-to-peer platforms. Right. So we just moved on.
Dan, do you see the CBN kind of stepping back their approach, which has kind of been negative, if we're honest with ourselves? Do you see them stepping it back in the next few years as cryptocurrency starts to become more mass adopted?
I think from the reportings which are coming out from the CBN, they came out tough talking about bans. Then they stepped back a bit, where they were saying it's not a ban. It's it's a restriction to do with the banking system. So they've been moving around the space, and he's come out and added his 2 cents to the argument, which is most probably going to happen when your vice president makes statements like that. It generates discussions. So as Nigeria, I think Nigeria will most probably start looking to the space of what's happening externally with other central banks, because it's a joint initiative. When you look at the IMF, the Fed, and everything, they do have the similar undertones, because their fear is loss of control and decoupling of money from the financial from government,
from state.
Yeah. So I mean, Nigeria will realize at a point that since its cryptocurrencies are borderless, stateless, and all of these things, it's better that they find a system which they can use to embrace it, like taxation, rather than be on the back foot.
And just to say out what the Nigerian vice president said, he said cryptocurrencies in the coming years will challenge traditional banking, including reserve banking, in ways that we cannot imagine. We need to be prepared for that seismic shift. So yeah, definitely, if your VP saying that, he's definitely looking forward. Not sure what the actual president is saying on it, but that's another conversation for another day. So guys, I guess this is just an open floor question that I'll throw to you now. How do you see the Nigerian cryptocurrency, economy or a community? How important are they to the development of these technologies on the African continent?
It's most probably more appropriate to Rebecca due to geographic proximity. But from an outside view, Nigeria is seen as the giant of Africa. I mean,
still?
It's GDP is still there.
GDP wise, yeah.
Nigeria tends to be at the forefront of many things, whether they're good or bad. So they are truly the giant of Africa. I think the problem in Nigeria is Nigeria's infrastructure doesn't correlate to that statement. I mean, the fintech space in Nigeria is massive. Digital innovation in Nigeria. So Nigeria is always going to be Nigeria is at the forefront, and they need to maintain that position. So for me, Nigerian young people in Nigeria are always going to be in that space, and it will be detriment to be kind of cut off from it.
So just quickly, how much is this an opportunity for Nigeria? I mean, there's no question about it. We are definitely in the digital age, and the recent COVID pandemic seems to have been an acceleration point. Balaji Finzinson recently tweeted that we should stop thinking in relation of developed and developing countries, which is more of a 21st century static view of the world. The world has since become a lot more fluid, a lot more dynamic, and we should therefore start thinking in terms of ascending and descending countries. Countries like the US, UK, I guess Canada are developed countries, but they're also descending countries. These developed countries with legacy infrastructure will have to adapt to the digital world. We can't assume just because something was an asset in terms of sort of US's or UK's infrastructure was an asset in one competitive environment, it will be an asset in another competitive environment. And the reason why I say this is because countries such as India, which is an ascending country, countries such as Nigeria, possibly, which is still underdeveloped from a infrastructure perspective, can use cryptocurrency as an opportunity to develop and to even leapfrog certain stages of development, technological development. Countries like India and of course Nigeria can pretty much sidestep. An example of this will be a comparison between Blockbuster and Netflix. So Blockbuster at the late 20th century obviously had the massive network of various stores across the country, as well as really a monopoly on rentable content. And when there was a shift into the information age, that's when Netflix came out, and that huge network that Blockbuster which had always been an asset for Blockbusters, quickly became a liability. As the rentable content market changed, there was no need to have a Blockbuster store in every city across the globe. It actually became a liability for the organization, and the rest is history. So how big is this opportunity for Nigeria to really front run the whole of the African continent? And I'll put that to you, Rebecca.
It's actually very big. It's massive. When it comes to, financial systems, I think Nigeria has one of the best in Africa.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. We have more banks. We have, more banking infrastructure. We have more needs for, foreign currencies than most other neighboring African countries.
Okay,
so
that's fair enough. Yeah.
Nigeria has, a better, financial infrastructure. I think in the last podcast I talked about a friend in Ghana whose bank does not issue MasterCards. In Nigeria, all banks issue MasterCards.
Yeah,
it's either you get a Master, a Verb, or a Visa card. So, and then getting a card from another bank is so easy. So, but one of the when it comes to propelling to the next generation and future and how big cryptocurrency will be for Nigeria, it's massive. One, and another thing is why foreign countries like the UK, countries like the US, and other Western countries find it really difficult to see the need for cryptocurrencies, because they have a stable economy. For African countries and countries like Venezuela, your currency is dying. When your currency is dying, you need an alternative. So cryptocurrency is providing an alternative for Nigerians. When it comes to sending money outside Nigeria, it's providing a wonderful alternative. PayPal is not available in Nigeria currently. If you have any Nigerian using PayPal in Nigeria, the account was not created with a Nigerian address.
Right.
So now having that difficulty of sending just simple transaction down to Nigeria because of some ridiculous reason, people will turn to crypto. And the crypto industry is just so massive that it might not be visible right now, but Nigeria stayed at the top when it comes to amounts of crypto transactions occurring in the whole of Africa. We have stayed on top. Recently, Binance had to remove the South African rand because of low liquidity. People weren't really transacting with the rand, so they had to remove it. That can never be the naira. Despite the crypto ban, the naira was still on Binance. It's just that you couldn't withdraw your naira to the bank by Binance, but the naira, people were still trading Binance naira on Binance. Despite the ban, they were using the naira to buy other coins on Binance. That's just to tell you how powerful Nigerians are when it comes to how serious we take our financial development. So basically, what we hope for is a future whereby policies that will encourage this giant leap that we are already taking will be set in place. We already have fintech companies like Kuda Bank. Kuda Bank allows you open an account easily and even get a debit card at the comfort of your home. So these are innovations that are challenging traditional banking systems, and whether they like it or not, they would have to move. You don't have a choice. By the time Kuda Bank gets to a level of success, banks like UBA, banks like EcoBank, banks that have been there for years, even the First Bank of Nigeria, these banks are going to be challenged to adjust. So when it comes to cryptocurrency and how big it is in in Nigeria and how big it is that Nigeria is going to propel it to other African countries. It's not something that we are looking at. It's something that for the next 10 years, we are going to be seeing upward growth. When it comes to agriculture, by the time, hopefully, we move into an agrarian society, how do we transact with a country like Togo? When getting, converting your naira to their currency is going to be so stressful. Why not just use the currency and then send it to Togo? And hopefully by the time, African French countries colonized by the French would decide to, stand on their feet and have their own currencies. Cryptocurrency is going to help, like Dan said, having XRP, banks using XRP as their underlying currency. And to make it easy, transferring currencies, intercontinent. So basically what we are looking at in the next 5 to 10 years are innovations that are going to make cryptocurrency, take Africa to the top. If we have good policies are important. Despite, it doesn't matter how fantastic a technology is, if there are no policies to support that technology, it's just going to die down.
Dan, do you want to give your sort of outlook? So obviously Rebecca's got quite a bullish and positive outlook for cryptocurrencies in Nigeria. What's yours?
I'm bullish on blockchain and cryptocurrency space in Nigeria, the giant of Africa and wider Africa in general, because just we can roll back and just look at the impact of the telecommunication boom in Nigeria, mobile telecommunications. The Nigerian market, I think at one point Nigeria was the largest growing mobile phone market in the world.
Yeah.
So when you think about the difficulty, the pain being reduced from the customer journey, you can now use mobile phones and the mobile apps which are on your phone. So you don't even have to have a laptop and everything. You can use this simple technology to interact with cryptocurrencies, the blockchain. Look at Nigeria's population. There's 200 million or 200 million plus people. So one of our strengths is our human resources. Look at similar to India, similar to China. So we need to provide industry where we can take benefit of our HR. Look at India in terms of the software development. It's the lead within software development. So how much foreign exchange must come from those sectors? So we do have the citizens, we have the tools, and when there's more on-ramping and actually bringing in of more of the unbanked populace, it's gonna be massive. I mean, I was part of I was part of Blockchain Africa, the Blockchain Africa Forum. I was following a lot of the different discussions, and the unbanked people in Africa was a massive talk, and the costs, the efficiencies, the fees, the transfer rates, which cryptocurrency in the blockchain space is bringing to Africa is going to be massive. And so I'm extremely bullish. There's lots of different companies. You've got Stellar, XRP, Cardano, which Malcolm knows is one of my favorite in terms of decentralization, speed, and all of these things. So it's a massive market. You can't stop it. You can only look to regulate it to gain the benefits of taxation. If we're talking about CC appreciation, capital gains tax, all of these kind of things, we can just look to things like the CBN having the CBN and the SEC actually legislating for exchanges and all cryptocurrency transactions to be recorded for auditing and ML and all of those kind of things. So it's a great market. It's not going to stop, and it's only going to go forward, and it's going to bring about efficiency in the space.
Cool. All right. Well, to close out, I think we've lost Rebecca. Let's hope she dials in. So, well, really, just from here, just to close out, really, to say, if you could just say, yeah. So, where can people find you, Dan? Where can people, if they want to hear more from you, if they want to follow you? Hold on. Let me just wait for. Let me just admit. Rebecca back in. Hold on. Hey, Rebecca, we just lost you for a second, but we're about to close out anyway. Oh, hey, Rebecca.
Hi.
Hey, sorry, we just lost you. We're about to close out anyway. So what I was gonna do at the end is obviously just give you an opportunity to say your name. So not say your name, or say where we can contact you, or if anybody wants to get in contact with you, whatever. But also, what I'm going to ask is if there's any good Nigerian projects that people can follow, or just social media that in the crypto space. It might be a good opportunity to just shout out anything that you know about. So I'll say it properly so I can edit it. So, guys, we've come to the end of the podcast. I just really learned so much here. We definitely need to get you both on again for the next Can Bitcoin Fix Nigeria topic. We just started this as just basically a look at what's happening in the crypto space in Nigeria. Since it started, we've had bans, we've had we've had riots with NSAS protests. So it's a market that we've got to keep our eye on, and we'll continue this series going forward. All right, before we close out, just want to give you an opportunity to tell listeners where they can follow you and some of your insights, and if there's any good projects in Nigeria that people can follow to see the development of cryptocurrency in Nigeria, please call them out. So I'll start off with you, Rebecca. Where can people find you?
Well, you can find me on Twitter with my name, Rebecca Ase, or on Instagram, Rebecca Ase, and on LinkedIn, Rebecca Ase. And for crypto projects that I am really, really fascinated with currently in Nigeria, I'm fascinated with what Binance is doing. I'm also fascinated with Abit Network. It's a project that has, it's a project that has, lots of products built on the blockchain, from real estate to games. So I'm really, really looking forward to how Tatcoin is going to, grow in the market. I'm also looking forward to the growth of Bitmama. Bitmama is a cryptocurrency exchange, focused right now. They only have Bitcoin and Ethereum, listed on the platform. But aside that, they have a view towards, penetrating Africa and, ensuring that cryptocurrency gets to the grassroots. Then aside that, I'm also looking forward to, there's this crypto exchange, OBX. I'm really, really interested in seeing how well, they do in the crypto space. So those are the projects that I kind of have interest with, and also future-proof intelligence for cryptocurrency platforms and blockchain platforms that are, interested in being compliant with the government rules. For instance, with the crypto ban, a lot of companies would have, been confused about what to do.
Over to you, Dan. Yeah.
My presence in social media is a bit on a private level, but I'm looking to introduce more business-slanted Instagram and Twitter. But at the moment, you can contact me at daniel.afine@yahoo.co.uk. But if we look to Malks, very soon they have all of the handles which will be associated from a blockchain aspect and a business analysis aspect.
But yeah, guys, I think we've come to the end of it. That was really, really, really insightful.
This is my first podcast. It's been great being on the show, discussing with yourself and Rebecca on a topic which I have a strong interest in.
Yeah.
Going forward, I think we'll be collaborating on projects, and it's just been great, and we should do another part just to follow up.
2021 will be an interesting year, and I think a lot of people in the crypto space are saying we'll sleep in 2022. Let's keep in touch, and I thank you both for your time. So see you later, and have a beautiful day. But guys, be in touch.
Bye, Dan.
Bye. See you later. So what do you think? I'm so bullish about Bitcoin and cryptocurrency in Nigeria after doing this session. And I actually said it. When the ban or not ban or whatever it was, the memo, let's call it the memo now. When the memo came out, I actually was really bullish on that memo. And my thought process around that was, in some situations, even bad news can be good news. And that's why I didn't immediately do a podcast on this. What I thought is, let's sit back, let's watch it, let's see what's really going on. Let's really not go crazy. Let's not lose our minds. Let's actually see what's happening. Reasons why I thought the ban would be good news is because, firstly, there would be a reaction from obviously people who interact with cryptocurrencies, people who work in this space, entrepreneurs. They will be made more visible and more vocal, and that resistance will come through social media, and so that would actually give the government some visibility, something tangible as to how important these cryptocurrencies are for the Nigerian population. So that's one. Innovation, where the governments basically sever the relationships between banks and cryptocurrency organizations. This will lead to innovation, so more peer-to-peer lending, more peer-to-peer focused exchanges, and these companies will have to survive, so they're going to find a way around the system or to operate within the system. And so that will create innovation. The third point of why I was bullish is just just the fact the government would ban it would bring the conversation to the masses, and that would cause people who have never heard of cryptocurrency to just figure out or to be inquisitive as to why the government would ban it in the first place. Dare I say, many Nigerians, if the government says go left, tend to go right. Let's just say individuals in the country are very skeptical about government moves, government decisions and motives. Yeah, so the whole ban thing was a bullish flag for me. Okay, so to quickly close out, my two takeaways. My first takeaway is the understanding the oil dependency of the country's economy and the need for diversification. That was just sort of laid out so well and so articulately by Dan, Professor, to you, to you guys. As a country which is now looking to diversify, move away from the monopoly grip of the oil industry on the country, there is opportunity for these new industries to pop up and help lift Nigeria's economy. Certainly, agriculture is one of them, but cryptocurrency has to be in the mix and will be in the mix. My second takeaway is the size of the opportunity is really an extrapolation of the population and the human intellectual capital that's in the country. Nigeria has a population of, I think it's reported to be something like 250 million. I'd say add 100 million on that. So it's probably like 350 million, something crazy like that. So Nigeria is becoming a global tech hub. That is the reality of the situation. And whether the government wants to support tech startups or not, this is happening, especially in the cryptocurrency industry. So just like Nollywood, like Afrobeats, these industries which have grown organically and are normally led by success-hungry, tech-focused, young Nigerians. So for me, Nigeria's biggest asset, apart from resources, is human capital. But having human capital aside is not good enough. No. You need governance, you need strategic direction, and you need a regulatory framework and environment to generate growth and opportunity. Check out bitcoinbymalks.com, and if you have any queries, feel free to reach out to me. This is the Genesis Block Education Podcast. I'm Bitcoin by Malks, signing out. Take care.